Ready.
What's going on, hockey fans? The Dan K Show is here with an all new format, an all new look, but the same exciting flair behind the all Dan K team selection show today, tonight, this morning, whenever you are watching on the Dan K Show. It is time for our elite all Dan K performers. These aren't always the top point getters. These aren't always the flash in the pan guys. This is the nitty gritty, the best of the best, those that we watched all season long, that we had to stop on our Flow Hockey dial to see what was going to happen next. And a guy who is always on the Flow Hockey dial, ensuring it works, ensuring it operates, and a lot of times calling games on it. My right-hand man, Mike Consigliere, Montfrere from the Mayor, Lucas Jones, all Dan K elite teams. You excited?
I'm excited here. I mean, this is the culmination of an entire season of watching USPHL elite hockey, right? And you make a good point. If you want to just go down and run a list of the top point getters in the league, you can go to USPHLelite.com. You can sort by points. You can do that yourself, right? But you come to us for the analysis that you can't get anywhere else. And so we're going to bring you that analysis on a great year in the USPHL Elite.
And that analysis will start in a different format than what you're used to. We used to do the all Dan K team and the all Lucas J team. We got word from the top, the new leadership here. They wanted it to be a little bit more exclusive, a little bit tougher to make the squad. So what do we have for you this season? Our all Dan K first team, our all Dan K second team, and our all Dan K third team. Each team will have 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, a goaltender, and a coach that we will select. We will then have our superlatives later in the offseason. So for now, Lucas, are you ready to start with the third team unveiling?
Couldn't be more ready, Dan.
We start at the forward position. Chucky Three Sticks, as we call him, Chucky Hockey, whatever you want to call him. Charles Norris III, a Euro 6 from the Rush on the forward line. He'll be joined by Adam Hattie, a 2005 birth year who played for the Islanders Hockey Club, and one of my favorites, a local product down here in Florida, Kevin Rossello, a young man who started filling in for the Premier due to injuries, bounced back down to the elite and led the way, a 2003 birth year for the Tampa Bay Juniors. Lucas, run us through this triumvirate.
Well, I mean, first we start with Charles Norris, Chucky Three Sticks, right? 46 points on the season, and he's an 06. So there is a lot of room for development and kind of a hard-hitting forward, right? Someone that you're excited to have on your side, certainly not facing him. And you look at Hattie from the Islanders Hockey Club in 44 games, 53 points. That's over a point per game. Again, an 05, right? A forward who can score, that doesn't take a lot of penalty minutes, who's young, you love to have. And then what a season for Kevin Rossello, right? 37 games played, 52 points. Again, a guy that doesn't take penalties, a very smart, heady forward, 5'10, 193, a left-handed shot, and certainly was an asset for Tampa this past year.
We move to our all Dan K third team D pair. It's an all-Atlantic defensive pairing here. Christopher Kobayashi, the Hitmen star in 05, who played a little forward, played a little defense. Quote from Jim Raymond, head coach of the elite squad with the Hitmen. Kid played wherever he needed to. On the right side of him, it's going to be Peter Allen from the PAL Junior Islanders, and he was no friend. He was no pal to anybody on the forward side of the ice trying to score the puck. An 06 birth year who had a great season.
Yeah, Peter Allen, you brought up that he's an 06, and he doesn't show it, right? Shows the maturity level of someone who spent many, many more years in the game. 37 points, most of those points coming from his assists, 28 assists in 41 games for Peter Allen, just under a point per game. But as a defenseman, you love that assisting output. And to quote the great hockey and analyst Lucas Jones, I just love a Jersey Hitman defenseman. That's what I love to see. There's always one every year that really stands out. Christopher Kobayashi certainly does here. You love a two-way guy, a guy that can play wherever he's needed. 12 goals, 16 assists in 40 games. Just a guy that gets it done, and he's an 05 as well. So you always love to see that youth really shine in Jersey.
Well, let's go to the KG veteran between the pipes. If you love hitmen defensemen, how about Hampton Roads Whalers netminders? Gene Berthauden, the young man from the Whale. This kid had a whale of a time in net, stopping zillions of pucks, 8 shutouts on the season. Just how good was Berthauden?
I mean, he was great. Like you said, 8 shutouts on the season, faced 785 shots, good for the eighth most shots faced in the elite among qualified goalies. But his record kind of tells the tale, right? 14 wins, 7 losses, 1 overtime loss, 1 shootout loss. Just feels like a guy you can count on, when you really need him to.
And an all Dan K third team first timer at the coach position, Philip Kuba. My guy. You talk about a guy you can count on. This is my unofficial NHLD partner from my non-existent playing career. This is a guy who took a Tampa team to the brink of a potential national championship run. This guy was stellar all season long behind the bench, and just watching a former NHLer developing the game at the elite level is an incredible sight to see.
There is a calm, cool, and collectedness about Coach Philip Kuba. He's a student of the game. He understands the X's and O's, but I think he also understands how to manage the players, right? He knows how to bring the energy when needed, back off when needed. You trust Coobs behind the bench. And I mean, professional hockey lineage aside, someone who's proven themselves very capable at any level of the game.
These guys are even more capable here. Are all Dan K second team selections coming at you right now. We start at the forward position. Most people don't talk about Bruno since the movie aired, but we do. We certainly talk about Bruno. How about Josh Bruno from the Northern Cyclones, a 2004 birth year, who is joined on this second team forward line with Justin Morrissey of the PAL Junior Islanders, a year 2006 birth year, a youngster with a big future, and the Crow, the Bird, the John Crodell, over 100 points on the season for the Rockets Hockey Club, and 03, the veteran, makes the second team squad.
Is it a Crow? Is it a plane? Or is it the second highest scorer in the USPHL elite? John Crodell, 108 points in the season, 57 goals, 51 assists. Absolutely absurd production from Crodell. I mean, the Rockets produced points, but this guy was something special. He had a great season there. You look at Justin Morrissey, again, another great season, 1.95 points per game. Guys, absolutely electric. Split even on the power play, goals and power play assists, 5 and 5. And you look at Josh Bruno. Josh Bruno is someone that I really love to watch. I think he's been an absolutely phenomenal player this season. 63 points on the year. Doesn't take a ton of penalties, but you know what? It's just someone that feels like he's not afraid to get involved when the game calls for it, however the game calls for it. A very versatile player in Bruno, and I think somebody who, especially since he's an 04, is going to have an excellent year next season.
How about two guys at the defenseman spot who were always involved on the good side of the scoreboard? First, from the Tampa Bay Juniors, Jacob Munkwitz, the 2004 birth year, joined by the 07, the guy who scored the first goal in the Young Guns NCDC All-Star game from the Potomac Patriots, Kirill Golubev.
I mean, you start with Munkwitz, right? For Tampa, the defensemen are going to get involved, right? We talked about the hockey IQ that they have on that bench. Everyone's going to get involved in the game, and Munkwitz certainly does. An assist-heavy defenseman, 28 assists and 13 goals this season, but with a point-per-game production, you can't go wrong. And Golubev, I mean, leading the USPHL elite in points scored by defensemen, 19 goals, 37 assists, and he's an 07. He is an 07 and leading the league in points. That is incredible. What a bright future the skater's going to have.
Huge bright future for this netminder as well. The KG veteran who raised the cup this year for his squad, Nick Cowles from the Northern Cyclones. Championship rings always help you make all Dan K teams.
They really do, right? It shows that you can kind of show up when the moment's brightest, when the moment's biggest, and help the Cyclones team and Coach Plummer to, you don't want to call it getting over the hump, but it certainly felt like a lot of emotions were released after that game. A lot of happy tears on the ice. We always love to see it, but I mean, Nick has kind of led this team in a lot of ways. 13-1, 2-0, 148 goals against. I mean, as a Cyclones goalie, he's not going to see the most shots of anyone in the USPHL elite, but when the puck's in his face, when the puck's in his crease, when the puck's headed his way, he generally makes the save.
How about a guy who generally wins hockey games for the third consecutive season? An all Dan K coach nod goes to Brad Gaylord of the Carolina Junior Hurricanes, the runners-up this season, the defending champs from the year before. Brad Gaylord, yet another great season at the helm of the Carolina Junior Hurricanes.
Listen, if you want different coaches to be, winning these awards at the end of the year, then start beating them a little bit more, right? Until Brad Gaylord loses, he continues to get these end of the year award nominations, and how can you not, right? It's part of the recruitment, it's part of the coaching, and it's the development. I challenge you to find a Carolina Hurricane, a junior cane skater that hasn't been made better by playing under Brad Gaylord at this point. So we love him. I think he's great for the game, great for the junior canes.
Lucas, are you ready for the all Dan K first team nods from the 23-24 season in the Elite?
Let's get into it. I think we're going to have some good ones.
Starting things off at the forward position, we have two Potomac Patriots and a Rockets Hockey Club star. First, your leading point getter in all the land, Jace Lombardo, the 04 birth year, joined by Noah Ribeiro, the 05 from Potomac, and Ilya Bessedin, the Potomac 05 as well, a pair of Potomac 05 birth years who were dominant offensively.
I mean, you start with Jace Lombardo, right? 113 points. He is your leading point getter in the USPHL Elite. A goal a game plus adding 69 assists on top of it puts him at 2.5 points per game. That's absurd. 32 power play points. That's crazy. 15 shorthanded points, 7 shorthanded goals, 8 shorthanded assists. This kid could not be stopped. What a job from Jace Lombardo. Noah Ribeiro, I mean, an assist guy. I love an assist guy. I love guys who can feed the puck. The offense runs through them, not to them. Ribeiro was that guy with 72 points. He's an 05 as well. So you look at somebody who I think does have a little bit of time left to develop. And that's the really scary thing for guys that are going to have to face him, right? He's got more time on the clock. And another 05 in Bessedin, 47 points on a season. And I think it's you talk about the ladder of development here as well, because this is his third year with the Potomac Patriots, and every year he has increased his point total by the end of the year. That is the proof in the Potomac system.
How about the proof in these two systems? The two defensemen on this squad, they faced off in the national championship game, so you can see how successful they all were all year long. Matthew Taylor of the Northern Cyclones, joined by Colby Markham of the Carolina Junior Hurricanes.
Yeah, Matthew Taylor. I mean, 14 goals, 40 assists as a defenseman, 1.29 points per game, but 10 power play assists, right? So he's certainly getting involved when the moment is required. And he's an 05 and someone who's got a lot of physicality in their game, right? When it's necessary. Again, it's the mark of a great defenseman is knowing when to get involved in certain ways. I think he's one of those guys. And then you look at Colby Markham, right? A defenseman from the Junior Canes, who's another 05, 39 points on the season, but getting involved in the power play as well, 13 points in the power play. So I think for Colby, I think for Matthew, these are two skaters who are absolutely deserving.
We go between the pipes. This was such a tough choice, right? Because you run into places like Carolina where you have two netminders in Trantis and Kalina who it's tough to decipher the two statistically from each other, right? They were so neck and neck the whole year long. You don't want to leave one out and put another one in. So those are two guys I want to make sure that we called out here. A bunch of other great performances this season. But this guy with the Rockets Hockey Club, when he was healthy, he was untouchable. Joseph Auletti, the 2005 birth year, playing for Coach Wags in Bridgewater.
Yeah, already saw his fair share of shots, right? 562 shots against, and with a goals against average of 2.13, a save percentage of 940. Just someone who puts in the work. A little bit of time spent not being totally healthy this season, but he's a grinder. He's a gritty goalie, and he gets it done. And you talked about Kalina and Trantis, Dan. I'm not still convinced that they're just two goalies in a trench coat, kind of suiting up that way, because they were interchangeably impeccable this season, and they really do deserve a call out for being a great right hand, left hand in the Junior Canes organization.
Finally, you talk about the word gritty. How about the problem child as our first team coach winning his first ring with the Northern Cyclones Elite? Tim Plummer, my favorite plumber since Mario and Luigi. And what a moment I got to share with he and his dad as they wrote the Northern Cyclones name in to the championship square on that bracket that we hand off to our teams. And I'll tell you what, that might have been one of the best Dan K Show send-offs of all time.
Yeah, I mean, what a year for some of the boys, right? All across this league, some coaches who have really worked for a very long time, poured their heart and soul and 110% of their passion into the game. finally get to hoist a trophy. And I think Tim Plummer is one of those guys that has just been very quietly giving 150% of himself to the organization, to those players every single year he's been on the bench. If you see him walking around with his headphones in, you know that he's dialed in before the game. And walking down on the ice after that elite championship and him turning around with just the happiest tears streaming down his face, it just reminds you of kind of why you do it, right?
Yep.
Is wanting to win a championship, yes, but also wanting to create that moment for the boys that play under you. So I think for Tim Plummer, what a great job he did this season.
Those are our three all Dan K teams in the elite. Let us know who we missed. We want to know who you think was a storyline that got missed in this one. Who do you think is the best of the best that did not make these three lists? Let us know. Chime in the comments. Chime in on social media at _Dan K Show. Lucas, your parting words for the all Dan K elite team.
We will have superlatives for you later on. These are our all Dan K Show teams, but we'll have some interesting awards to give out after these air. So if you feel like there's someone we missed, there's still time. Let us know at the _Dan K Show.
That's all for me. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night.